Welcome back to the Venari Podcast. I'm Golf Candola, and we are joined for this episode by Will Phillipson. Will is the Chief Operating Officer of Citymapper, a public transit app and mapping service helping individuals like myself get from point A to B in cities around the world. Will, welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you on. I'm obviously a user of the app and a huge fan. So, getting you on this episode it's fun for me to kind of get an insight into the business as well. And we're going to learn a bit about yourself, as well as Citymapper, obviously the effects COVID has had on the business, but also, what users like myself can expect moving forward. For anyone who's been hiding under a rock, do you mind telling us a bit about Citymapper?
So Citymapper was the brainchild of our founder, who, legend has it, got the idea after getting lost on a bus in London. About 10, 12 years ago. And so the app's been around for a while. Asmat, who's our founder, has put together an amazing team that is really hyper-focused on design and user experience, and obviously public transit. And the idea of Citymapper is making cities usable. As you can tell from the accent, I'm not actually from the UK. When I first arrived in London with my family 8 years ago, one of the first things I did is I sent to my wife and kids, here's the app. This is what you need to get yourself around London and figure out where everything is. So that was our first recorded usage of Citymapper.
Yeah, incredibly useful. I actually had my dad asking me at the weekend that he was struggling with Google Apps. And I was saying, why are you not on Citymapper? So it's a life changer for him already. I know he's been using it over the past week. And obviously, you joined the business at the start of the year, co-founded SilverRail Technologies, CTO with Kyte. What made you join, Citymapper?
I got lucky, got recruited. First question I asked when approached was, love the company, but what's the business model? Because as you well know, it's available in the App Store and both Google and Apple. You download it for free. There's no advertising. It's just there and it's great. The intrigue I had of wanting to learn more and meet the team and the founder. And what I learned was just so much about the business. Obviously they have both the club subscription and the pass subscription, which pass is a subscription product within the Citymapper. It's in the top right hand corner when you open the app, and it gives you access to unlimited travel within London for less than it would cost to get the same service from TfL. So really, really interesting and innovative approaches to transit. And what I learned coming sort of behind the scenes is the amazing amount of technology and innovation that Citymapper has done. And what we're expanding to do, which started about a year ago, and part of the reason why I've been brought on, is we have decided to make this technology, this amazing stack of technology, available to other players in the marketplace. So both transit agencies that might be interested in upping their game and having better user experience, but also more inclusive coverage of all the different types of modes of transit. But then also technology companies, travel companies, venues, event organizations, where the current mode of operation is most of these companies spend an enormous amount of money on customer acquisition. And then they do a transaction, and then that's it until next time you want to do something. And what users do is they end up going to Google Maps or Apple Maps or something else to figure out how to get there. And of course, there's advertising involved and selling of user data. But fundamentally, that organization loses that engagement with the customer. And so what we're providing is now the ability for those companies to incorporate the best parts of Citymapper, the widgets of the UI or connecting via the API, and be able to, for example, tell the customers how to get to them. If you're a travel company, how to get from the airport or the rail station to the hotel, how to get to the restaurant for dinner. If you're a venue like a concert venue, how to get there so that you're coming in the right exit for where your seats are.
I was going to ask, obviously, the effects of COVID, which the transportation sector has taken on massively, especially on passenger ridership. How has that really affected Citymapper?
It was one of those good news, bad news situations. Obviously COVID was devastating to the travel industry in general. The work from home, stay at home orders and things like that meant there were, commuters, travelers just disappeared. Our experience here in London is London was a ghost town to a large degree. So there was very little usage of Citymapper during that period, and that was around the world. But what it did give is the opportunity both to expand the number of regions from 80 to 450 cities being covered, but also to start working on our software development kits and the exposure of the APIs and the documentation for the B2B push, which we have going on now. And then what we're seeing now is it's been fascinating to watch the regrowth of numbers. And in some ways, Citymapper is even more important now, because what you have is a lot of people. First of all, how do I commute again? What's that process of getting to where I've forgotten to go to? But then also people are increasingly, working from home some of the time. So going into London or going to your office or wherever you're going is no longer a 5-day-a-week zombie commute. You're going in at different times, your offices have moved, all sorts of things. And so the need for an advisor, a need for an assistant to help you navigate this environment that is not exactly the same all the time, you're always on the 8 a.m. or the 7 a.m. train and all that sort of thing, is more and more important. So we're seeing some very interesting usage patterns with Citymapper as the recovery happens.
The big thing for me, it's so clear in terms of when you use it, what you need to go, or what, in terms of platforms that you need to use, timings of trains, or in terms of how you can access, maybe if you get off the train, maybe get on a bus instead of jumping in an Uber. So little things like that really make a difference. And it gives you an exact time as well, which is so key, as we'll both know, rushing around London.
Absolutely. One of my favorite features, used it today, getting off at Bank Station, which exit to go out. I mean, you can go around the circles and you wind up in completely the wrong part of London if you get out from the wrong exit in the tube station, and it's telling you, exit number 2 is where you need to go, and you're right where you need to be.
Exactly. And finally, what does the future hold for the app?
So hopefully it's Citymapper everywhere. We're in the process of rolling it out. We've got a few customers live already, so this is a very new initiative. Our software development kit and whatnot is available on our website, sort of as a self-serve model. So hopefully we will have 1,000 flowers blooming as young entrepreneurs and companies go in and check it out and build their own creative version of Citymapper. But really, we want to help cities around the world make sure that they have the best transportation information available for their customers. And I think our approach is really unique. A lot of organizations have APIs, but find it incredibly difficult to build a compelling user experience. And that is perhaps the biggest learning for me out of many of joining Citymapper is, you hear of companies that are engineering-led or product-led or whatnot. Citymapper is really design and user experience-led. I mean, it shows up in the work product, right? That's why we both love the app. And it's really that dedication and that focus on making sure that the user experience is phenomenal. And being able to offer that through a software development kit where you have literally the widgets of what you see in the app today become available for you to incorporate into your own app, that I think is really quite compelling and will be a game changer to allow transit agencies and companies to incorporate that experience into their own app and then keep the engagement with their customers.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it continue to develop. And look, well, once again, it's a pleasure having you on. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Love it. Thank you very much, Gove.